Hi there, Richard Fulmer here. Welcome to another Richard's Rock Rambles. Today we're going to check out a band that have pretty much done it all. They've done blues, rock, southern rock, country, hard rock, and they've even done reggae. The band I'm talking about is Gov't Mule. Gov't Mule started in 1994 and they were essentially a side project, and the two founding members were Warren Haynes on guitar and Alan Woody on bass, both of whom at the time were playing with a legendary band, the Allman Brothers. This is obviously a later version of the Allman Brothers after Berry Oakley had passed away along with Dwayne Allman. So Warren Haynes on guitar and Alan Woody on bass. And while they were in the Allman Brothers, there was a lot of friction in the Allman Brothers in those days. Things weren't going great. And Warren Haynes was sort of the intermediary between the keyboardist, Greg Allman, and Dickie Betts, the guitarist. And this was getting a bit much. And Alan Woody said to him, nobody seems to do the power rock trio thing anymore. And I reckon we could probably pull that off pretty well. So Warren agreed and said, right, we need to get a drummer. They got a hold of a guy by the name of Matt Abst, great drummer, very much in the style of Mitch Mitchell from the Jimi Hendrix Experience. So they were looking for that kind of sound. Got the band together, jammed a few times, did a few rehearsals. Everything was great. They recorded their first album in 1995. I think at that stage they were still part of the Allman Brothers, or they had already left. I think they might have left by then. So the first album came out, not a huge budget, amazing album. Just great blues rock, a bit of jazz thrown in as well. Searing guitar work from Warren Haynes on the Les Paul. Some nice slide work. Alan Woody and Matt Abst as a rhythm section just clicked. Everything was sounding amazing. So that was their first album. Unfortunately, a few years later, Alan Woody passed away. And that was quite a blow to the band. But they recovered, and they had a second bassist by the name of Andy Hess. He was also with them for quite some time. I think all in all, they've done about 9 studio albums and a lot of live stuff. This is a live band. You're going to go watch Gov't Mule. Don't expect 1 hour, don't expect 2 hours, expect 3 hours plus. They don't skimp when it comes to playing. You get your money's worth. A lot of improvisation. So they're more a southern rock jam band, if you like. They can do anything. So as I said, about 9 albums, a bunch of live stuff. I don't have all the studio albums. I have a fair amount. And I have some live stuff and 1 DVD. I think there's about 3 or 4 DVDs that they've done thus far. So Andy Hess, second bassist, was with him for a while. The current lineup is Warren Haynes on guitar, Matt Abst on drums. Keyboards, there's a guy called Danny Louise. He's actually been in there for quite some time as well, from I think 2002 up until now. And Jorgen Carlson on bass, who's fitted into that band seamlessly. He's a great bassist. Fits in with Matt Abst really nice. Their most recent album is called Revolution Come, Revolution Go, and that was from 2017. And then there's another live recording called Bring On The Music, which is on CD and DVD. I haven't had the pleasure of checking that one out yet, but I'm sure it'll be great. These guys don't release bad albums or DVDs. So that's the most recent, and that's live from the Capitol Theatre. They've also done a lot of covers. In fact, they've covered a whole album of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. It's called Dark Side of the Mule. Not too many bands, I think, would attempt to cover that album, but they do it so well, and they bring their own style and their own flavor to that album. Really good. They've also done the Stones. It's called Stone Side of the Mule. I think that's a double disc. So they've done that as well. They cover all sorts of bands, different artists. In fact, when Alan Woody passed away back in 2000, they had a tribute concert called The Deepest End, bass guitar being the deep end. And they had a bunch of guest bassists, Roger Glover, they had, from across the genre spectrum, from jazz, rock, country, just to pay their respects to Alan Woody, who was a well-loved bassist. So let me go through what I have on CD. First one I have is called Life Before Insanity, which is that one there. There's the back cover. And this was their third album. Standout tracks on here are Wandering Child, which I think they still play to this day. World Gone Wild, In My Life, Fallen Down, great album. So that's that one. A couple of years later, there's one called Deja Voodoo. It's a great cover. That's the back. This was got Bad Man Walking, Perfect Shelter, Slack Jaw Jezebel is the standout track on here. Great track. Is that one. High and Mighty, which is about a few years later. The track Mr. High and Mighty, standout one on here. Great guitar work from Warren on that. One called By a Thread. Broke Down on the Brazzos, Monday Morning Meltdown, Frozen Fear, Forevermore. Not a bad track on here. Great album. And the most recent that I have is the second last album they did called Shout. This is a double disc. What they did with this album is you get the first disc, which is all the songs, and then on the second disc it's the same songs but with guest artists bring in their whatever singing or bass playing or whatever, so you get a slightly different version of each track. And there's all sorts of people in here. Ben Harper's on here, Elvis Costello, Dr. John, who's been going for many years, Grace Potter, Jim James, Glenn Hughes is on here. He gets to play with everybody. Dave Matthews, Miles Kennedy, and Steve Winwood from Traffic. Really nice album. Some of the live stuff that I have, the Georgia bootleg box, quite a rarity. I'm not sure if this is still available. This has got 6 discs, a lot of covers on here, along with a lot of their standard tracks that they play, like Blind Man in the Dark, John the Revelator, No Need to Suffer. Different versions of those tracks as well on here. This is really good. If you can find this, it's worth checking out. Then there's one called The Haunted House from 2007, which is that one there. And this second disc on here, they cover Led Zeppelin. So like I said, they get to play everybody. The song remains the same, the Rain song, No Call to the Ocean. Really great versions on here. Then this one, along with the other one that I have, is when they still had Alan Woody on bass. So this is called Millennium. So this is the 31st of the 12th, 1999, New Year's Eve concert. Still featuring, as I said, Alan Woody. It's a 3-disc set, as you can see. Really nice collection on here as well. When the Blues Come Knocking, Bad Little Doggy, which is a track they still play today. 21st Century Schizoid Man, the great King Crimson track. We're Not Gonna Take It. Dazed and Confused by Zeppelin. Really nice version on here. And the other one I have is a 6. Well, is this a 6 or a 4? This is a 4-disc set. And this is called Live with a Little Help from Our Friends, the collector's edition, which is that one there. This is got some really nice photographs inside. That's Alan Woody there on the bass. Really worth checking out. There's Matt Abst on the drums. So this is still the original lineup, and they do a really great version of the Neil Young song Cortez the Killer. It's just one of the tracks on this great collection. And then on DVD, this is with their second bassist. It's called A Tale of Two Cities. There we go. And the first disc is recorded at the Orpheum Theatre, Boston, 2004, 15th of October. And the second disc is recorded at the Riviera Theatre in Chicago in December of 2006. Also, really quite a long concert this. Rocking Horse, Slackjaw, Jezebel, Blind Man in the Dark, all the normal tracks that they play. Brighter Days, Game Face, a couple of drum solos. Really good stuff on here. You can find that. They have released a more recent studio album called Revolution Come, Revolution Go. That's from 2017. I don't think they've done anything else since that. And then last year they released a live album plus DVD called Bring On The Music, which is live from the Capitol Theatre. This is a band that you need to see live, just for the experience, and they play so well as a band, as a unit, especially just the power trio. Although they have the keyboards as well, you can still hear a lot of that power trio stuff going on. The Hammond B3 just fills it out quite nicely, and I think he's been with them for about 10 years now, I think. Apart from Gov't Mule, Warren Haynes also has a solo career. He's played, as I said, with the Allman Brothers. I think he's played with the Grateful Dead. He's a very busy guy. He doesn't rest on his laurels. He's always busy with some other project. So I would urge everybody who's into southern rock, stroke jam band, stroke country rock, whatever, to check this band out. There's a lot of product out there. A fair amount, I think, is available on vinyl as well. So that'll be good to check out. So there you go, Gov't Mule. Lots to listen to, lots to see. And yeah, any comments, please, down below. Like and subscribe. The next episode, I think I'm going to be covering a band by the name of the Drive-By Truckers. May not be well known to everybody, but they've been going for some time. They are in the southern rock, but a bit more country. So also a different take on the southern rock genre. And I hope to see you then. Stay well. Cheers.